I am from the data
This
science.
meeting is being recorded.
I am Karthik and I'm from the data science team. I have my colleague Morish who would be partnering me and who would be taking a part of this presentation. Okay. This talk is a beginning of series of presentations which would cover basics to slightly advanced topics in the field of non-fungible tokens. So Monish, can you move on to the next slide? See, the agenda for this talk, as I said earlier, this is a series of talks. So agenda for this particular presentation would be covering the basics of what a blockchain would be, its workflow, what are types of transactions that can happen on a blockchain, what are the potential applications of a blockchain. Then we will be moving on to what is NFT and what would a typical NFT workflow look like. What are the types of NFT? What are some of the popular NFTs and what are the opportunities for IT people like us in this particular field NFT? And we will be presenting few case studies based on NFT. Okay, and we would also be giving you a clue of what is going to happen in the near future. What are the other talks that would happen as a part of this other presentations that would happen as a series of talks which would follow this particular presentation. Maurice, can you move on to the next slide? See, let me give you a brief introduction, very high-level introduction of what blockchain is. Blockchain, at a very high level, is a decentralized distributed database that records information. Okay. So when we talk about decentralized, it is slightly different from an entity wherein it is owned by a particular owner. Decentralized is a area wherein you don't have a single owner, you will have multiple owners, and nobody actually owns the entire stuff. It is all who work equally. So here data is stored as here data is encrypted and then stored. So once the data is encrypted and it is verified, then only it is stored. Unverified data is not at all stored. Okay. One of the main advantages of blockchain is by inherent design, the data on a blockchain cannot be tampered. Once you enter a data, it cannot be tampered and it is foolproof. So you can envision as many as security-based applications based on blockchain. And one more important thing is, since it is decentralized, every person who participates in this blockchain network has a very transparent access to the underlying data that is present in the distributed database. So blockchain as such is a highly disruptive technology, and slowly it is envisioned to even replace cloud in certain cases. So let us see what a typical blockchain workflow would look like. Monish, can you move on to that slide? See, whenever we talk about workflow, we talk about a series of events that would happen from a place wherein an entity is started and where the expected result is achieved. So here, let us assume that somebody is transacting. Whenever somebody is requesting a transaction in a blockchain, whether it be a encryption of a healthcare record or whether it is a currency transaction or whatever it is first broadcasted to a set of peer-to-peer networks. Okay, and each of these peer-to-peer networks works on a set of or family of algorithms which will verify and validate whether the transaction is right or a malfunction transaction. So once it is verified, these transactions are put into a block, and these blocks are attached to an already existing blockchain. Okay, so let us assume the blocks that are shown here or the blockchain database, and each and every block that is uh, completed once set of transactions are verified is attached to the existing blockchain. Okay, so if you have any questions on this, let me know. Your transactions could vary. It could be contracts, it could be records, it could be healthcare information, it could be currency, it could be anything. Okay, so blockchain is a framework wherein your data could be encrypted and stored, and nobody can tamper the data that is already been stored. If you have any questions on this slide, please let us know, or else we can move on to the next slide.
Karthik, what do you mean validating the transaction?
See, what is meant? See, whenever you are presenting an information, it has to be verified that the information that is being presented is actually valid, whether it is erroneous or not, whether it has any bug or not. Okay, so that is called as validation of transaction, and you have different set of uh, algorithms which will try to identify whether the information that is provided is a valid information or not. For example, there are well-known consensus algorithms present in blockchain, such as proof of work, proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, proof of elapsed time, proof of authority. And under each of these algorithms that I'm saying, you have family of smaller algorithms which will work. When I say consensus, it is all about peer-to-peer networks, and you have multiple computers or multiple nodes participating in this particular case. And based on the consensus of those nodes that are participating, you will either say that the transaction that has come in is a valid transaction or an invalid transaction. Are you getting this point?
Yeah, and all these validations are automatically done in the nodes, or is it the user who would be applying certain algorithms and they have to validate?
The user will give you some information based on what is transacting, which will automate a series of algorithms which are used by the nodes to validate. See, for example, I can say that I am transacting using Bitcoin or a Ethereum transaction, and that particular statement is enough for me to pull what sort of an algorithm I would have to use. Or I can simply say it is a KYC document, and it will automatically pull proof of authority algorithm to verify and validate whether the KYC is valid or not.
Okay. Got it. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. So, can I move on to the next slide if you don't have any questions?
One question, Karthik.
Yeah, please.
So this one where it says like once verify the transaction is combined with other transaction to create a new block of data for the ledger. So it's like a centralized place where like this is happening.
See, it is a decentralized environment. Okay. Then see, it is a decentralized environment, so you don't have a single place where it is happening. Every node that participates will have access to the block. Okay, if you are worked on a say relational database, you would very well know the concept of creating tables. Block is similar to a table. Okay, only thing, any verified transaction could come into a block. Okay, block is closed only once all the transactions present in the block is verified, and block has certain unique pointers into it, which will exactly talk about the block properties such as its size, which part of the cryptocurrency network it is of, what are the transactions that it holds, Okay, it also would talk about something called as a transaction counter. It will have a block header which will talk about versions, previous block hash, which will enable it to connect to the other blocks which have related transactions. Have I answered your point?
Yeah. So my question is like any participating node in the distributed network can use all these properties in like adding a new block to the blockchain, is it? Or is it like one set of nodes which actually does it?
No, no, no. Any block, any network, any node could do that.
Okay, okay, got it.
Okay. So all the nodes would have access to all the blocks present in the blockchain.
Okay. Access as well as even like creating a new block and
Yeah,
adding
yeah.
it to the existing. Got it.
Yes, yes. If there are any other questions, please
Since
ask.
we are talking about, yeah. Since we are talking about the distributed network, will there be any slide for how the one transaction created in a node or with by the user will be propagated to the other users and their distributed blockchain?
So this is a very good question. We are planning to have series of talks wherein we would be demoing how this is actually happening. And I think, Venkatesh, it would be better if you can follow that presentation. And I'm sure that presentation would help you to understand things better. If I start to answer that, then I need to demo you and show that would not be part of this particular talk.
Sure, Dorsey. Yeah, thank you. I will
Thank you.
follow.
Any other questions here?
No, Karthik, thank you.
Monish? Yeah, Kalpana. Okay, so let us understand what represents these blockchain transactions. What are the possible transactions that can happen in a blockchain? Okay, the content here is not limited to the ones that are being specified here. It could be anything. Okay, so at present, blockchain is frequently used by cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency is a more encrypted version of digital currencies, which we do while we transfer money when we use net banking. Let me put it as simple as that. Suppose if you want to do a net transfer, what we do? We go to net banking, we type the money, it is click the button, it goes off, right? While it goes, it gets encrypted and then goes. Similarly, only cryptocurrency is also being done. Same only, it's an advanced version of a digital currency wherein the encryption standard is more stronger. Okay. Here, cryptocurrencies are fungible elements. When I say fungible elements, it is interchangeable. Say, for example, I have 10 rupees note and I have 10 rupee notes. Okay. And I trade with the person who gives me 100 rupee note. Now, these two are same. However it may be, I have 10 rupee note and I'm giving it to a person, he gives me back 100 rupee note. When things are interchangeable like that, and if it represents the same quantity, then it is called fungible. Okay, so fungible is a term that should be synonymous with all who are working in this blockchain. This is a very, very important term. If we understand this only, we will be able to understand what is non-fungible. Okay, so whenever data comes in, or let us say if you are going to transfer or if you are going to do a currency-based transaction, your encryption algorithm present in the blockchain will automatically identify that it is a currency-based transaction, and it will encrypt with a token called as ERC720. Okay, and this ERC720 is a token that is quite frequently used in blockchain transactions to encrypt all your fungible tokens, fungible elements. Okay, are you getting what is fungible here? Fungible is simply denotes an element that is interchangeable. I have given you some examples here. For example, 1 rupee could be exchanged with 425 paise coins, right? Similarly, it could be exchanged with 10 times 10 paise coins. That is what fungible is. Okay. Apart from cryptocurrencies, which form a major bulk of your blockchain transactions, we have something called as smart contracts. Smart contracts is nothing but very similar to a stored procedure in your relational database. Okay, so it is a set of self-executing contracts with terms and agreements between a buyer and seller. Suppose I am a seller, okay, and I want to sell a particular product at 10 rupees. So if somebody bids for 10 rupees, then I would be executing this ownership to him. So those things are called as smart contracts. Okay, it might be of several types. I'm just giving you an example here. Okay, it is not limited to the example that I am giving. But if you have guys have worked on relational database, it's very similar to stored procedures and triggers, wherein if a particular condition appears, you write your trigger or stored procedure will execute a set of lines to satisfy a condition. Okay, and another one is authentication, wherein you authenticate whether a particular transaction is valid or not, whether a handshake has happened or not, or things like that. These are the three main things that are currently occupied and currently running on a blockchain. Okay. If you have any questions on this, please ask me. I think no one has any questions on this. Maurice, can you move on to the next slide? So we have seen that blockchain gives you a possibility of storing data that cannot be tampered with. Okay, so think about this. Data cannot be tampered. Data access is very transparent here. So you can have n number of applications, particularly related to security, A, and B, transparency here. So your voting is something that could happen. This is something that people are looking at, wherein people are talking about how voting can happen, happen in a safe and secure manner. If you have all your EVMs replaced with the blockchain technology, then things would be very easy. You can use your mobile to do that. It's as simple as that. You don't have to even go to a election booth to do that now. Your financial services, most of the financial services have run in a very highly secured environment, wherein security is very, very important, and it costs billions and billions of dollars for them to run this. Now, if you look at blockchain, right, your peer-to-peer network might not be owned by a singular entity, and in that way, very small nodes are present that will help you to save lot of money on the infrastructure fund. Okay, so it is a very, very cheaper version than what a cloud option would provide. At the same time, your data cannot be tampered with, and security is much more than what your cloud or an ordinary digital encryption would give you. Okay, when you look at certain things, right? For example, if you are looking at let us say our encumbrance certificate, which are quite often tampered with, and people would give you heart attacks or heartaches when you see that your house property certificates are being tampered with, this gives you a better option. So here I have provided you a case wherein your ownership of an autonomous car could be actually digitized using this particular chain, wherein you could feel safe with whatever process is happening. Similarly, your healthcare records, as we all know that healthcare records are something that should not be tampered with. So all your healthcare transactions could happen via blockchain environment, wherein risk of privacy is very, very minimal or almost nil. And you can even detect frauds if it happens, basically because you cannot tamper with the data, and whatever you are trying to do would be a fresh set of information that is going to append to a block and easily identify what is the actual data and what is a fraud data here. Okay. So these are some of the cases. You could add a lot of cases here.
In the variable.
Can you repeat it once more? I didn't hear you.
Sorry.
Hello.
இல்ல சார் ஜஸ்ட் இது இல்ல சார் நான் இது ஃப்ரண்ட் எண்ட்ல தான் சார் உங்களுக்கு எடுத்திருக்கேன் இந்த query-ய. ஃப்ரண்ட் எண்ட் நம்ம கன்சோல்ல எப்படி இருக்குமோ அந்த query தான் சார் நான் உங்களுக்கு எடுத்து பண்ணி இருக்கேன்.
This Abdul, can you go on mute related to this session? Please proceed, Karthik.
Okay. So if you have any questions on this, you can let me know. But remember these things. See, whatever information that you put into a blockchain is permanent. It cannot be tampered with. Very, very minimal chance of failure because you have a peer-to-peer network. Okay. Transparency is very high, and everybody in the who participates in this blockchain environment or framework has access to the data. So it is all transparent. No privacy breaches. So you can think of all the things that could happen basically because now advanced version of security is privacy, and people are talking about privacy as the next big thing in the security environment. So this has enormous potential, and there are the number of applications that can run on a blockchain technology is too huge. Okay. If you don't have any questions here, we can move on to the next slide.
Karthik, one question from my end. So
Yeah.
you mentioned out like we can achieve, we can use blockchain in autonomous vehicles, right? So can you share me whether it will be for security or any other purpose that we can use blockchain for?
Yes, we can talk about it once we understand what are non-fungible tokens. Okay, then you yourself will say the answer for the question that you have. So let's see, we have understood what is fungible, right? Fungible is something that is interchangeable. Okay, non-fungible is something. Monish, can you move on to the next slide? Non-fungible tokens are something that are not interchangeable. They are permanent and they indicate a unique representation of an element, okay, or an entity. Let us say your car key or my house certificate or my degree certificate. These are all unique entities. Okay, non-fungible thing talks about unique entities only. Okay, so when you digitize your unique entity and put it in a blockchain, it is encrypted by a token called ERC721, and that particular token is called as non-fungible token. Okay, non-fungible tokens are permanent basically because it is put into a blockchain. It cannot be tampered with. Okay, tomorrow, see, I might have a degree certificate, and somebody I might have a key. Let us simply use this key as an example. I have an autonomous car, and I have some part of the autonomous car which is quite unique to me. Okay, now when I have this autonomous, when I have this part that is unique to me, somebody else could also come and claim that his part is unique and your part is a duplicate part of that, or duplicate copy of that particular unique part. Now, if you have a digital record which proves your part as unique, you can win the case. So I think I have answered the question that you had asked here. So think about this. Non-fungible tokens are tokens that are unique in all sense. Okay, so it could be your marriage certificates. Some time back, I saw someone as the first person to put their marriage certificate as an NFT. So the NFT is becoming popular, and it has found out a different ways of getting into people's mind. So NFT can be anything that is digital. It could be a piece of art or drawing or music or anything that is unique. Okay. So you can ask me this thing. Now, when I put NFT into blockchain, I am securing it, fine. But how can I sell this NFT? This is a digital art. How can I sell it to many people? And would those people also claim that this is unique? That is an answer that you'd have to answer, right? So you have NFT and you have copy of underlying digital asset. What is this difference between NFT and the copy? So whenever you put an NFT, you would be adding a token, ERC token 720, and that token is an encrypted form of the document. For each and every copy that is coming out of the original, the token values would vary. And with that particular token, you would be able to associate the owner and the creator. Creator is the one who was originally who held that particular NFT. And owner is the one who has bought copy of that. So in that way, you would be able to distinguish between NFT and the copies of the underlying digital asset. Are you getting this point?
Yes, Karthik. I think with this, I can able to relate one interesting thought. Just want to share. Like
Sure.
a 20-year-old Indonesian guy recently heard news. Have converted his image profile pic to selfies to using NFT, and he sold it for some and earned some millions. So most of we heard it using this. I think I can able to relate now with this.
Yeah. See, there are many interesting use cases which Monish would share with you in the later slides, and everyone would have used NFTs in their real life also without using blockchain. But with using blockchain, what you can do is you can it is like a safer locker for you. Okay, so in that sense, it gives you a lot of what to say, a lot of privacy and lot of options for you to even sell the uniqueness that you have, and you can sell it with for a large profit also. So we will as we go ahead, right, we will talk about what actually helps you to get a lot of profits and other stuffs. But let us go to the next slide and understand what an NFT workflow would look like. See, now NFT.
Sorry, Karthik. I have an interesting point to make.
Yes,
we can make NFTs only on digital assets, right? Things which are digital, correct?
Absolutely. See, whenever we are talking about digital assets, we are talking about digital assets on a blockchain platform, basically, because it gives you that uniqueness. Okay. See, there is a difference between digital currency and cryptocurrency. Okay. Digital currency is something that we do while we do a net banking. Okay. But cryptocurrency is something which we do, when we do a similar operation on a blockchain environment. Okay. So when we have something digital, and if we do it on top of a blockchain, it becomes NFTs.
Okay. Karthik, I have an interesting question. Probably
sure.
Since you have done some R&D on this, so that's the reason I'm asking this question. So you gave a good analogy comparing the physical money with a digital currency, correct? Physical rupee, 1 rupee, in bank is a counterpart of a digital currency, correct? I can transfer this money in digital form.
Correct.
Is there a way that I can digitize something in physical form to which can be used in NFT? For example, Gandhiji's spectacle is his glass is a unique identity, unique thing, correct?
Correct.
Unique piece. Have you come across any such use cases whereby people have done that? So even I can.
There are a lot of use cases like this,
Vijay. Yeah. Okay.
Probably once we start into those part of the details that are yet to come in this presentation, we will talk about it. We'll definitely talk about how we can digitize your physical entity and make it as an NFT. I think this particular slide is not about that. We will once we associate it with a particular slide that is going to come in future, then things would be very clear, and maybe you can ask more questions based on those.
Yeah. Thanks, Karthik. Your presentation actually created that curiosity. That's the reason I asked the question.
Hold on for a couple of minutes. Probably in the coming slides, you'll be able to understand how we can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Is there any questions on this particular slide? Is there Monish, can you go on to the next slide? See, let us understand how NFT is different from cryptocurrency. See, NFT as well as cryptocurrencies are two things that could be run on a blockchain environment. Cryptocurrencies are something that are interchangeable and fungible. Non-fungible tokens are something that are unique, and you cannot trade it as what you do with the cryptocurrency. When I say cryptocurrency, you have many forms of cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is one, Ethereum is one. Okay, let us not talk about the cryptocurrency terms or Bitcoin or Ethereum as such. Let us talk about it in a very simple way. I have 75 rupees. I go to an exchange market or Western Union sort of place wherein I give the 75 rupees and take $1 from them. Now these two are equal. These are interchangeable. These exactly represent the same thing only. And there is no harm in changing it. Okay, that is fungible. And NFT is something that is unique and that is not, and it is very permanent. It cannot be erased. So non-fungible tokens are unique and are permanent. Once you register your NFT, once you register a unique piece that you have as a digital asset in blockchain and term it as your that you own, that is permanent, that cannot be changed. Okay, so this is basically a difference between NFT and cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency has its own place, NFT has its own place. In some cases, right, if you want to buy an NFT, you should use cryptocurrencies to buy an NFT. So that is also there. So suppose if you want to buy something unique, and if the owner says that you would have to pay 10 Ethereums, you are paying it, right? So cryptocurrency is just like rupees that you would have to pay on a digital platform to get that particular NFT. If you have any questions here, you can ask me. This was just plain a recap of what is NFT and what is cryptocurrency and how they are different.
Karthik, I have a doubt. So the NFT means, so let's take, I compose some music and I want to make that as a NFT so that I can sell to different persons. But some hacker hacked my system and somehow they got my music. Right? So at the time I have uploaded my music and converted it as a NFT, and I have the rights to that NFT. but somehow different hacker able to access my original source file of the music, and they are also trying to create an NFT out of music. How the validation will happen? Will they validate against all the NFTs? How that happens? How they prevent to create another NFT?
Yes, if we move to the next slide, we will understand from the workflow how things happen, and I will explain what exactly would be my response to your question. So just hold on for a second, Venkatesh. Actually, I will give you a brief. All your transactions are time-stamped, okay, based on the timestamps and the validate. When I say timestamps, validated timestamps, your records are stored. So at unique. So it is like you once a particular thing is being timestamped, same entity cannot be timestamped at the same time. So there would be milliseconds gap between those two entities. And which one is being validated first is the one which is original. Okay, that is how it is. And which one is validated later would be a duplicate copy of it. These could be easily identified by the tokens associated. So once you understand how an NFT is created, you will be able to understand that once your NFT is validated, it cannot be owned by other directly. Meaning you are the original creator, and the originality will never go. Those are all copies only.
I think one question. So this trading and non-trading is all a perspective, correct? I mean, in the old times, if you think, we didn't have money. We traded rice paddies for, rice for wheat, or for sugar for something else. So what would you consider that as a fungible, non-fungible?
That's a very good question. See, let us understand one point here. Non-fungibles are unique. If something that is traded is not unique, then it is all fungible tokens. Are you getting this point? See, one which is traded, if it is unique in nature, okay, there is no other copy like that, then it becomes non-fungible. And the owner associated with that non-fungible item is the creator of the non-fungible item, and his name remains as creator of the non-fungible item. That unique entity belongs to that particular person. Whereas the case that you are talking about, right? You have that is barter system wherein I have rice, you have wheat, we interchange that. Okay. Now what is unique in it? So that becomes fungible.
Understood. Thank you. Yeah.
So maybe we can slightly tweak it, and you can say that this particular rice was made by using this particular technique, and this technique is unique to me, and this could be sold for this particular value. Then that becomes non-fungible. Are you getting this point? See, it all depends upon how we put it. It's all perspective only.
I think that's where I was alluding to, because that becomes slippery slope.
That is a very fine line between what is unique and what is not unique. It all depends upon your claims, and if your claims are valid enough, then it becomes unique in nature, and it becomes a non-fungible stuff.
Yeah, that was I was alluding to, because it becomes a perspective. The perspective can change.
Absolutely. See, that is what happens. No, see, somebody was referring to Gandhiji's eyeglasses, right? There could be many number of eyeglasses like that. Everyone could claim that, but whoever puts into a blockchain claims that this is the NFT, this is what it is, that is recorded, and most probably the claims would be quite valid there, at least in this particular perspective.
You don't have to dive deeper into it, but I think I get the idea. So we can go further into the slides, maybe to bring more clarity.
Thank you. So, Maurice, can you move on to the next slide? So this is an example of how an NFT would flow in a blockchain environment. See, you have two sides here. One is the user side and one is the server side. The user side, right? User side is always called as something called as a marketplace. Okay, marketplace are nothing but applications wherein you can create an NFT or buy an NFT, and usually the one who creates an NFT is called a owner or a creator, and one who buys it is called a buyer. And this is the app. It is similar to what we do while we do trading. I'm sure most of you guys would have traded something, some shares or something like that. It is similar to your Zerodha or a similar sort of an account wherein demat account wherein you can go and trade. Okay, so there are many marketplaces which allows people to trade. So this particular workflow talks about what happens when you create an NFT. Okay, when you create an NFT, you give details about metadata information about the thing that you want to create, and all the other metadata items like token ID, date, content are also added to the NFT that you create. Once you start creating, this particular process happens in the peer-to-peer network that is surrounded by your marketplace. Okay, and this process is called as minting. Okay, so what would you do when you want to see? There are many ways by which many purposes for which I can create an NFT. Okay, I can proudly say that I am a owner of an NFT that is for fame. Few people would create an NFT for profits, meaning they want to sell an NFT. Okay, few people would want to make sure that their unique entity or unique thing that they have should be protected. So these are the ways in which you can, for which you can create an NFT. So once you create an NFT, depending upon the purpose of your NFT, there is something called as NFT contract that would be created. NFT contract is similar to your smart contracts in your blockchain. And NFT contracts usually, right, they assign ownership and manage the transferability of NFTs. Now, suppose if you want to sell your NFT, under what condition would you transfer those NFTs to others? That is what would be in NFT contract, and these are self-executing contracts. Once a buyer bids for that particular NFT, and if the condition satisfied, then this particular contract would self-execute. Okay, and all this information are stored in the blocks, and it would get stored in the blockchain. Okay, and see, this particular NFT application sits on a web. It could sit on a mobile, or it could sit on a laptop. It could sit on a desktop. It could sit on a tab. It could sit everywhere. Okay, but it has access to all the distributed blockchain database that is underneath it. And as a buyer, if you want to see about how a particular NFT of this type is going on, you can view it. You can see what are the NFTs that are going on, all other stuffs that are provided by the app or the marketplace that I'm talking about. So this is, in essence, how an NFT would actually sit on top of a blockchain, and what are the process or unique keywords that are associated with the NFT. Creating on an NFT is called as minting. Okay, And similar to your smart contracts in blockchain, you have something called as NFT contracts, which basically talks about what are the terms and conditions with which the owner is willing to transfer the ownership to a buyer. And these are self-executing codes. Other things are very similar to what a cryptocurrency or any other transaction that would happen in a blockchain. It is very similar to that. Only thing that is additional here is the encryption token that is being used to encrypt your data. Here we use something called as ERC721 token, which is different from your ERC720 token. Okay, so if you want to identify, see, since all these are encrypted and stored as hashes, cryptographic hashes, your ERC721 token represents your NFT. ERC720 token represents your fungible or cryptocurrency transactions. So this is how you have to differentiate between NFT transactions and cryptocurrency transactions in a blockchain. Okay. So if you have any questions here, we can I can take it, or else we can move on to the next slide.
Karthik, the value of an NFT depends on the digital asset that is mapped to an NFT, or simply like someone could actually combine 4 or 5 images and have an NFT. So will that have a big value? So how is it? Because there are areas.
This is a very good question actually. See, you have I will give you an example. I own a keychain, and this keychain is very unique. That is how I feel. So I submit a proof and I create an NFT. Okay. Now I want to sell this keychain. Now it is up to me to decide the value for it. Whether someone buys or not, it is not my problem. I am selling this for $100 is what I would say, and I would put it here. Somebody might buy it or not. That depends upon the craze for that particular keychain. Okay, and the person who is going to push it and who backs those things. But that is a different issue. But all things depend upon the NFT owner or creator who creates an NFT for his or her unique element. Are you getting this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
But sometime back, I think like Sangeeta asked, right? Someone created an image of us and sold it for millions. So how does it get sold it for millions if someone is creating just an image?
Exactly. We will go on to that particular question. That is a question that we have answered in the coming slides. We will look into it. Okay.
Okay. One other question. Does it involve any big fees for updating a ledger in blockchain, say like NFT or a cryptocurrency?
See, there is no question of updating. If you are writing it, in a relational database, what we do, we update the existing row. Suppose you are creating a row, you can update that particular row, right? Mm-hmm. So a new record is not created there. You are updating that particular row. Whereas in blockchain, if you create a row, you cannot update that row. You can create another row. So you have 2 different rows indicating the same thing, one with different timestamps. Okay, so you will have a modified version and also an original version. So 2 rows you would have.
So for creating a ledger itself, does it involve a big processing fees for creating in blockchain, or do we have any slides for that?
See, this
to understand the fee processing.
See, you have for example, all our Windows systems works on something called as NTFS. Maybe older ones would work on FAT. Similarly, you have something called as IPFS for the blockchain stuff. Okay, there are already existing pieces of code that will help you to create the blockchain, put the blockchain in data into that particular file system. All these things are readily available open source systems, and I have not focused on those particular issues. But as far as I know, there are a lot of open source information available for us to start building a marketplace as well as a way by which you can insert your blocks into the blockchain ledger.
Okay.
If you have any other questions, please ask, or else we can go to the next slide.
One question. So you said, for example, you have a unique keychain and you will create an NFT out of it, and you will post it on, and you'll sell it for $100, right? So once it goes into the marketplace, so my question will be like, so who will be benefited out of it? That's my question here. So you post it for $100. Someone decided to buy that, so you made nothing out of. I mean, you made $100 out of it, right? So further, will that keychain, I mean, that NFT will have value, and how will its value increase? Basically, in stock market, like based on the company's performance, your stock price will increase, right? But here it has nothing to do with any performance here, right? It's just a simple keychain NFT, right? How does it value increases?
Absolutely. A very nice question. See, the answers are in the other slides. Probably I will give you a very brief answer here. Once we go into those slides, I will give you an elaborate answer. The purpose of creating an NFT is for fame or profit or for safety. Okay. When you talk about profit, you would have to make sure that you get a profit. It is not simply enough if you say that this particular keychain is unique. So you would have to have an endorsement saying that this particular unique chain is this particular keychain is unique, and if a worthy enough person is endorsing it, then its values becomes excellent, right? Say for example, if I have a keychain, or if I have a scissor, or if I have a knife, and if a very famous person says that this knife is excellent, you can use it, then that becomes an advertisement piece for you, and its values increases. Okay, so if you buy, you will not sit quiet, right? You will also, if you put it here and I buy, I will not sit quietly. I will say, I will give positive feedbacks. I will put few more advertisements on top of what you have done and make it more popular. It's all about trends, no? So once you make it popular, probably I might sell it for $150, and out of $150, based on your NFT contract, some 10% of it would go to the original creator, and remaining $140 or $135 would come to you. So that is how you do that. So it all depends. See, it's a speculation-driven stuff, and speculation as such is driven by who is driving it, and what are the other factors that are associated with it. So a lot of social media influence, then popular figure influence, promoters influence, all these things come into picture, and that drives the market for a particular unique piece of NFT that is being created. See, for example, if I say I am creating a unique virtual tour for you using NFT, and I put it there as a digital piece, you won't be seeing that with high attention. Suppose if makemytrip.com or any traveling site puts that, then you would definitely be seeing it. So that is a perception that we have, right? So popularity, speculation, all these things promotes and drives a profit in NFT. Whether data supports it or not, that is the common perception that that is present right now. If you have any other questions, please let us know, or else we can move on to the next slide. Monish, can you move on to the next slide? See, NFTs as such, right? As I told you, any piece that is unique could be an NFT. So you can virtually say that there are billions and billions of unique pieces that could be put as an NFT in a blockchain environment. So grouping it would be very difficult, and people have tried to group it based on what they represent, what those unique items represents. And there are some unique groupings that are already built for different types of NFTs. Okay, some of them belong to the gaming environment, some of them are subscription, some of them are digital arts, some of them talk about blockchain domain names. Even your reward functions, reward badges could also be put as NFTs. So there is an NFT for that. You have insurance policies that could be put as a NFT. You have luxury goods that could be put. You have music. Somebody talked about music. You have AR, VR stuff that could be put as NFTs. So if you round this up, right, there are different ways by which you can group NFTs. Very common perception is you have a very high level of grouping, and people talk about grouping that has been put on the left side of the image as the one that represents a general environment, wherein all NFTs related to gaming would come under gaming NFT. Collectibles are miscellaneous ones. Okay. Similarly, titles are something that would come here. Art, supply chain, domains, etc., etc. So it all depends upon how you group. What is the metadata information that you provide decides how you will group an NFT. So if you have any questions here, we can wait, or else we can move on to the next. Monish, can you move on to the next slide? See, somebody was talking about popular NFT, right? See, this particular NFT that is put on the right side, this image has nearly this is collage of 5,000 images. Okay, each of this is not unique, but the entire image is unique. Okay, this was sold at Christie Auction Center. This is a very famous auction center for $69 million. Now imagine who will buy this for $69 million. One collage piece with 5,000 images. Who will buy for $69 million? The guy who has bought this, right, is saying he will sell it for $150 million in near future. So what he will do? He will use the 69 million, part of the $69 million to promote it. And there will be some other guy who would buy it. So it is a chain, and this chain will go all, as long as the trend is there. Somebody named Jack Dorsey, see, just for writing this tweet, just setting up my Twitter, this particular tweet fetched him $2.9 million. These are all recorded information. This is not a false information. And why this particular tweet has fetched such a huge amount? It is because the person who has tweeted this is very famous. So it all depends upon who owns the NFT, okay, and how you promote the NFT. What are the other factors that decides market for an NFT? So NFT is all about speculation. Sometimes it might be dormant, and sometimes it might burst. Okay. So I hope some of the questions that you guys had asked has been answered in this particular slide.
Karthik, for few people, like, if it's going to be a celebrity or CEOs of companies, it makes sense. But there are many marketplaces where people like me or you can create a few images by combining certain images, and then they do sell it for $10, $50. So how does it matter, like, for people buying it? It doesn't create a hype or anything, right? I can just capture 4 photos and then put it and sell it for $10 or $50. Are there people to buy those things as well?
So I will give you an analogy. Your viewpoint is absolutely right. I will give you an analogy. There are multiples of startups that happen everywhere. and the success of a startup is in single digits. Okay, in NFT it would be in decimals, but whatever wins, right, would win huge. And there are very specific NFTs that would win, and most of these NFTs will not win. Okay, so it all, see, that's why I said it all depends upon the craze behind the uniqueness that you bring in. How famous is that uniqueness? Okay, so it is a huge lottery in certain cases. In certain cases, it is through some signs. So it depends. You will never be able to say that. But literature says few things. Literature says that it depends upon who the creator is and who the promoter is. See, so it all depends upon that only. If you sell, see, this digital art, if you had sold it in an auction place in India, it would not have sold for even 16,000 rupees. It has been done by Christie, so it has sold at $69 million. So it all depends, no? Who is promoting it, who is validating it, who is saying that it is good. So that is what NFT is all about. Can we move on to the next slide? If you don't have any questions. See, this is what sums up the entire set of slides that we were discussing about NFTs. NFTs are disruptive. It would have a huge impact basically because it is running on a blockchain environment. NFT as such, right? If you are looking at, if you are taking it out of the blockchain and if you are looking at it, it's just a digital asset, it doesn't hold much value. But if it is combined with blockchain, then it becomes disruptive. Okay, and NFT growth rate is mostly fueled by speculation. Okay, and it is driven by social media hype only. So when you do that, when you have a lot of people talking about it, that becomes an explosion, and at times there will be no growth, absolutely no growth. Okay, so for example, some of the global brands have started to jump on this NFT bandwagon, seeing the popularity. So if Adidas, Nike, Coca-Cola, Samsung, McDonald's, these are all big shots in the particular domain, and they have started promoting NFTs basically because they think that NFT is the new disruptive technology. Use it to their own interest. It increases their fame, it increases the reach, it increases the profit also. So that is what they are trying to do, and slowly people have started putting things into NFT. So this particular GIF is talking about that one. I think if you don't have any questions, we can move on to the next slide. Monish, can you move on to the next slide? See, when you talk about NFT, right, you have two perspectives. Okay, one is the buyer perspective, one is the seller perspective. But that is all about trading. See, that is not what this entire talk was intended to do. This entire talk was intended to make you aware of what is NFT and what are the opportunities for us as IT services people to work on it. Okay, so see, when you look at the entire framework and the NFT or any other transaction that is happening on a blockchain, you will find that you would have regulations basically because it's a peer-to-peer network. You should have regulations, you should have governance, you should have protocols, you should have standards. All these things are not 100% foolproof, or else if it was 100% foolproof, then people would have shifted their cloud into this particular technology. This would replace cloud long back. Okay, but that has not happened. There are a lot of more work to do on these environments, wherein you would have to work on the copyright regulations issues, protocols, standards, market-based applications, because there are very few marketplace applications that are functioning right now. Okay, and scope for us to work on these marketplace applications is too large. And marketplace applications are usually driven by visualization, and visualization is something that that is bread and butter for us. Basically, it's part of a data discovery process, right? So we have a lot of opportunities to work on visualization stuff. Okay, and above all these things, it is all about data. So the previous ones like protocol standards are also part of data, but since the data is there, we could find out use of artificial intelligence here and see what this data actually means. Okay, this particular piece of information, artificial intelligence, is something that has not touched NFT very hardly. Things are at a very, very embryonic stage. So once, see, it is all about who wins the race, who starts it first, who becomes popular. So this is the right time for us to jump into this particular place. Okay, so artificial intelligence on NFT is a very, very hot topic, and if we jump, time is right now. If we jump into this particular area, we would be a front runner in this particular area. So as such, NFT itself is new. We have different aspects to look into, and all the aspects have been put here. So for an IT service company, these are the areas where we can look into. Okay, and since we belong to the data science team, we had actually worked on many use cases related to NFT. Okay, and my colleague Monish would be talking about what are the areas wherein artificial intelligence could be applied to NFT. Okay, and whether we will be able to see profit in it or not. Okay, how we can do that? Those things would be answered by my colleague. Okay, so I would request Monish to continue from here. If you have any questions to me, please do shoot out right now, or else we can take the questions for me offline. I think, Gayatri, I think I'm done. I request Monish to continue from here. Monish? Monish, are you there?
Monish, you there? He is there. Monish, you there? No, he's not responding.
Okay, I will myself continue till he joins. Okay.
Hi, Karthik. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Monish, please. We are waiting for you, so you can take it from here.
Sorry, there was some internet reception. Sorry for that.
You can move on to the next slide, Monish. I have covered this slide. You can move on to the next slide and stop.
Thank you, Karthik, for your great explanation. There was a detailed explanation of what NFT is and how it works. And all this detailed explanation gives me an easy job to move on from here and what are the use cases we have been working on. And I would like to walk you all through all the use cases that we have worked on, and it's mostly depends upon the data, like AI, how it is related with AI. Using AI, how NFTs can be utilized. So, like we know that AI is one of the buzzwords we have been hearing for a very long time recently, right? So AI is everywhere, starting from when we wake up until we go to the bed, AI is everywhere, right? So we feel that AI can also, when we push that into the NFT space, it will give a huge like a turnaround, right? So that's what. So we have some use cases to look forward. So the first one is like we all know that NFT, as NFT, we talked about artwork is one of the NFT, one of the hot topic that we have spoken. Artwork is anything, any painting we make it, any picture we upload it, anything that we do, anything like a drawing can be sold as NFTs, right? So when these NFTs, when these artworks, like when the person who don't know how to paint, who don't know to create artwork or to do some painting, but he wants to get into this NFT space, to this NFT world by selling some artwork or this painting. But you don't know. But he has this whole kind of imagination. He has some how to draw it and how to bring it, but he couldn't directly picturize it. So this where AI comes in, like with the help of text, some like AI based algorithm, deep learning based algorithm. We can use deep learning based algorithm with our text or faces, paraphrases. We can create a generate image out of those words. So this picture you see on the right side, it's actually created using this deep learning algorithm called GAN, generative adversarial network. This algorithm will help us for a common man who wants to get into this particular NFT world, NFT space. It will help them to do this artwork. I guess this particular slide explains what how to create an NFT. Sorry, how to create this artwork using an AI based algorithm. If you have any questions on this particular part, shoot it out and we can move on to the next one. Okay, I'll move on to the next one. So this second use case, we took is something like NFT. We all know NFT is something price driven. It's just driven by the speculation and who promotes it and what it is. In the same way, we also see that this particular NFTs will have similar characteristics. When we upload something, when some images have been uploaded, we know that that particular NFT price goes up or comes down. So we don't know how to determine the price of those particular NFTs. In order to do that, in order to find out and in order to identify what's the price of this particular NFT we are going to create it, we can create a service wherein this will help to visualize and see similar, if there is any similar images already there, which is close to our own images that we are going to put in. When we have this, based upon this clustering, like when based upon this network, we can say we can identify or we can determine the price of that particular NFT. When with that, we can also trade based upon that as well. So, for example, there was some artwork, or if there is some image that is there on the NFT space already, someone has minted that one. But the price of that NFT is something not like we don't know how to determine if this is a fair one or not. Whether this going to be come in a huge space when we buy it and when we again sell it, will this price will go high or not? We don't know all this kind of things, right? So for that purpose, this particular algorithm, what it actually does is it is going to create a network wherein this particular NFT have been traded with other similar NFT. It is already present in our blockchain. With that, it will determine the price of that particular NFT. So we will categorize those NFTs based upon whether it is moving slowly, whether it is a medium phase or it is a fast moving phase. With that, we can identify whether to buy this NFT or not. So this graph on the right side, you can see this. It's been created using some Python-based visualization network, wherein it creates, the first one creates a users to user link. If a particular user buys some image and the same particular image has some vectoral space, same vectoral space characters and all that. With that, it is going to create a network, and we can see all this information on this particular screen. It has been spread out, right? So like on this theme, like we can see this brown thing overall in this particular field, meaning the CryptoKitties. It is mentioned here that CryptoKitties is one of the NFT community wherein they have published many NFTs over there, and that's been mostly traded, and it has a huge amount of speculations over there. So when we buy this particular NFT, it will give us some, we can understand that this particular NFT can have some more value than other NFTs we can see. So if you have any questions on this particular slide. Okay, I'll move on to the next one. So how NFTs can be used in the healthcare segment? That's a different question. So we know the healthcare segment is one that's been growing around, right? So we know that NFT is something is unique, and it gives you ownership, and it is authenticate, right? When we use this NFT in the healthcare segment, it will be a huge success for patients and as well as for the hospital. I'll explain you how we are. Now, the current state of healthcare is that any hospitals, when you visit some hospital, they will handle all your medical reports, your scan reports, and all medical related reports will be handled by the particular hospital. You don't have control over those data. The hospital can they can sell your data, or they can use it for their own research purpose, or they can do anything with that. They can also keep this confidential, but you don't know what actually happening with this medical records, right? So in this case, when we create when we bring all the hospitals into a single blockchain network, we'll see the has been created as an NFT over there. Say, for example, I have some problem, health problem, and I visit some hospital. They take all control over there. I don't know what's actually happening. But when we put this health data, I put this health data as an NFT in the blockchain segment. I know I can track it. Who's actually owning it? I can track it. I can also sell this particular NFT, particular health data to the concerned person for some money. I can take a benefit out of it. Instead of the hospital taking benefit, I can take a benefit out of it. So this how like healthcare NFTs can also be used in the healthcare segment. This actually gives a trust between the hospital and also to the patients who is actually visiting it. And also, like as we know that we can also own, we can also control the ownership of our own health data. If we have some problem, we don't want to expose those to, we don't want to sell it to anyone. We can keep it confidential with that in the industrial blockchain, so that if someone steals it, we can say that this data has been this particular health data has been put as an NFT data, and I own it, so I can take control of all this. No one can use it. That's how healthcare can come into this NFT segment, that we feel little benefit the healthcare segment in a better way. So if you have any questions on this particular side. Okay, I'll move on to next. So the last use case
Monish, we are not able to hear you. Can others hear Monish?
No, PK.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, Manish.
Yeah, sorry, there's some internet disruptions. Okay, I'll continue from this. Have you listened, like, I was audible from the slide 4, right? I was not audible from the slide 4, right?
From the beginning of slide 4, I mean, use case 4, we did not hear you.
Okay, sure. I'll start from you. So, as I said, like, we in the initial slide, when we are working on the initial slides, Vijay asked this question. If I have a music and have created this NFT and someone hacks this particular physical form of music from me and create the another NFT from out of it, and they create this NFT and in the blockchain, same blockchain, we can see the differences. We can see the copies of same NFT being minted, right? So in order to avoid this, we can create a service wherein we can avoid this kind of copies. Meaning, how once the particular NFT has been created, during creation of an NFT, we can check if the particular same attributes with the same physicality and all this digital essence is all the been already present in the blockchain. If we find it, like if we can find out or identify if there is any digital assets that already been present in the blockchain, we can avoid this in order to avoid this copies, right? So this will benefit in cases where in the fraudulent cases. So we feel when so this will actually gives a better way of finding out and identifying the fraudulence and avoiding those things in this NFT segment. As NFT grows, it'll always be difficult for us to track each and everyone and say who's copied and who's actually has the ownership and all this, right? So in order to avoid this, this service will help to validate if their digital asset is already present in the blockchain or it is a new one. So that's our slide. Do you have any questions? One. Okay, I'll move on to the next one. So what last, like, I have concluded with this one. On this slide, what this slide explains is, I'm not sure how many of you heard this news. Actually, a company called a startup called Robotics is announced going to the NFT to their whole and employees as appreciation reward. This meaning this creates an speculation over and also gives an importance of what NFTs and made as a collections. The particular this company has created as tied up with another AI-based organization, wherein they've created around 500 plus NFTs. The GIF you can see on the right side is actually a unique representation of each NFTs. And they also have given ownership to their employees, and employees can ask employees can do anything with that one, whether to keep that or whether to sell it or auction it or whether to transfer it to anyone. So this like whatever this was happening, right? So NFTs has been a very huge this thing have been going for the past few years, right? So this will actually gives very confidence for people around, and it will gives an awareness of what NFT is and how this is going to be grow in the future. I guess these are some of use cases that we have worked on, and still we have a lot more to cover. And NFTs can be worked on a lot more areas. Like we can use it in our supply chain management. We can also use that as intellectual property. When we own some properties, when we own something, we can if we have some pattern over that, we can keep that as a pattern as NFTs also. So in this way, NFTs can be in a different forms. It can be used in very different places. So, I guess these are something we have started up with on, and we urge everyone else to do the same. And since you have some understanding of what NFT is, and ask everyone to bring some ideas over this NFT spaces where we can be the front runner in the NFT space. So this will give some to our organization a better way to proceed from here. So that's all I have for presentation, and this is some use cases that we have discussed, and we have a lot more to cover, a lot more to bring in. We'll have a series of wherein we'll showcase whatever the things that we have done so far on a technical perspective. So that's all we have from. Do you have any questions on this particular? Let me know.
Guys, any questions?
Yeah, I guess that's all from our side, and I guess we can stop from here. And we will have further presentation on this particular one. We'll continue from there on how to create an NFT in marketplace, and we can sell it or we can upload it, and all this being coming in for further presentations in the coming days or something, in the coming weeks.
Thanks, Munish, and thanks, Karthik, for the session. And it was completely informative one. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Any queries, you can post it to Karthik and Munish.
Appreciate the audience who listened patiently to the presentation, who asked questions that were quite interesting to answer. We would appreciate if you can send whatever questions you have not asked through email. We will be able to answer them offline. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, everyone. So I'll be sharing the video also with everyone. You can go through it once again if you have any clarifications. Thank you all.
Thanks, SK and Munish, for the detailed presentation.
Thank you.